This is Dominick. Dominick works at a 5-star restaurant called the Pixel Palace. There, some of video games' most popular celebrities pop in to have a drink. Sometimes they share stories and even secrets. Because as we all know, what the bartender hears is confidential, isn't it?
So I'm sitting there tending bar when in walks one of my favourite customers ever, Lara Croft. Now, I don't need to tell you why she's my favourite customer. Every time she comes in, my mushroom gets harder than the lost levels on Super Mario Brothers. But I digress. So, she comes in and I notice she looks a little different. And I ask her, I said, Miss Croft, did you do something different to your hair? She says, no, but there's definitely something different. I said, what is it? I can't put my finger on it. She says she got a breast reduction. Well, like that, you could hear a pin drop in the bar because it became so quiet. The only thing I could hear is a collective gasp of men just go, You see, when Laura enters the room, everybody listens. And often does other things, but I won't go into that. So the idea of her getting a breast reduction was just shocking, and I said, Mrs. Croft, what convinced you to do such a thing? She said, well, I never wanted it anyway. In fact, the whole idea, the whole get-up and everything, it wasn't my idea. I'll say, how do you mean? She says, well, it all started when I was just lonely archaeologist. And I did not look like how I do now. I had glasses, buck teeth, bad hair, the whole package. So, she told me that she read in the paper that they were looking for female archaeologists for this game called Tomb Raider. The only thing is she had to be strong, she had to know martial arts, and she had to know weapons. Well, luckily her father used to go hunting with Dick Cheney, so she knew all that stuff. So she showed up, she was more qualified than most of the other women there, but they said that she needed to be improved. She said, well, how do you mean improved? They said, well, enhanced. She said, what do you mean enhanced? They said, we're gonna make you more anatomically incorrect than a Barbie doll. She goes, oh, okay, I got it. So they give her a makeover, they give her the glasses, give her some dental work. Well, obviously the game was a big hit and they want her to do more. But with that came a certain sacrifice. You see, they told her that with every game her breasts had to get bigger. And in between the first and second game they actually made them so big that in one level they served as a flotation device in the river. By the time they were done, it looked like she was hiding 2 Hindenburgs. I mean, they were just gigantic. She said kids were jumping on them like they were trampolines. They used to joke that some of the warp zones for Super Mario 3 were stuck in her cleavage. In fact, a lot of things were getting stuck in her cleavage. They found Donkey Kong Jr., Earthworm Jim, Alucard from Castlevania 3. So she said, enough is enough. When people start disappearing in my breasts, I'll think they're too big. So she decided to have them reduced. The only downside is the first time she did, they deflated like balloons. Before people kept getting lost in them, and now people start tripping over them. So she finally said, alright, just get them to a large size, but just not too large. And so by the last game she was in, they were finally a decent size. But now she got them even smaller. I mean, she practically looked flat-chested. And so of course I had to ask her, I said, what made you want to make them even smaller then? I mean, they were a decent size by the last game. And she says, well, I found out about this code in one of the games where you could actually play me naked. And she said even though she found out about it much later, that was the final straw for her. She just couldn't stand to be a sex object and nothing else. And then Samus from the other table came over and said, oi, I had a problem similar to that. You want me to track him down? You want me to track down the guy who did that? And I told her, no, you don't want to deal with that. And then she brought up a point to me I never thought about before. She said, you ever realize that the smaller and smaller my breasts get in the games, the less successful the games are? I mean, the games just aren't as good as the first one. Like every single time my breasts shrink, people just don't pay as much attention to the gameplay or how to make it a better game. And I said, oh, that's ridiculous. I'm sure it's just a long stroke of bad luck. But that didn't really help that we opened the paper and we saw there's an advertisement for Tomb Raider starring Lara Croft's breasts. Just her breasts, nothing else. It's just a giant rat going around shooting things and trying to suffocate them by putting them in her cleavage. Well, Laura looked very destroyed by that. I mean, absolutely distraught by the whole thing. She then called Samus back and said, oi, what could you do anyway? And Samus said, Laura, this could be the beginning of a beautiful friendship. You see a lot of strange things as a bartender. See a lot of strange things at the Pixel Palace. So, I'll see a lot of strange things as a bartender at the Pixel Palace. And that ain't no lie. Swear to it.